Grand Theft Auto San Andreas was developed by Rockstar North and it takes place across 3 different cities, that being Los Santos, San Fierro, and Las Venturas. But at the heart of the story, we find Carl CJ Johnson, who returns to his old neighborhood after the death of his mother and to help his gang, the Grove Street families, rise back to power. 21 years would pass until Grand Theft Auto 5, where we were introduced to 3 new protagonists, Michael, Franklin, and Trevor, each of them with their own unique journey. But over the years, GTA fans have speculated that Grand Theft Auto 5 and San Andreas might actually take place in the same fictional world. That'd be in terms of timelines, parallel universes, a multiverse, or whatever you want to call it. And in typical Rockstar fashion, they've fed the community enough clues for players to start piecing together a possible connection. Today, I'll answer the infamous decade-old question, are GTA San Andreas and GTA 5 actually connected? Mission Hood Safari kicks off at Franklin's house, where Lamar and Denise are giving him a hard time for supposedly turning his back on the Chamberlain gangster families. You see, Franklin isn't interested in the gangbanger lifestyle anymore, but out of nowhere, Trevor shows up, claiming that he just wants to make some new friends. And somehow, at that moment, a sketchy drug deal starts to sound like a good idea, so he joins in. As the player approaches the cul-de-sac during the mission, they'll spot 3 NPCs riding BMX bikes away from Grove Street. A clear nod to the mission Sweet and Kendall in GTA San Andreas, where CJ, Sweet, Big Smoke, and Ryder flee from the ballers on bikes. And the drug deal in Hood Safari goes down at MC Ren's house, located right near where the Johnson house used to be in San Andreas. The layout matches the location even if the houses look nothing like the original. However, these are nothing more than small nods to GTA San Andreas, because the NPCs on the bikes aren't actually CJ and his friends, and Grove Street doesn't look the same as it did back in 1992. In San Andreas, the entire neighborhood of Ganton used to be situated behind the Johnson house, and in GTA 5 that area has completely vanished as it was replaced by the Los Santos sewage spill. That alone right there suggests that this isn't actually the same place, but rather a reinterpretation of the original location. So this connection doesn't really hold much water. Later in that very mission, if you're patient, you can catch up to 4 different conversations depending on which characters escape together after losing the cops. But if Franklin and Lamar end up sitting together, then they'll talk about the old Grove Street families.
Hey, you know Grove Street used to be family hood.
Grove Street family? Man, long time ago.
Man, what happened to them dudes?
Shit, I don't know. Could be dead. Shit, or could be CEOs by now.
What's also interesting about this is it unintentionally foreshadowed the narrative of GTA Online's The Contract DLC, set 8 years after the story of GTA 5, where both Franklin and Lamar have become CEOs of their own legit businesses. But with some of these character conversations, when you're hanging out with Jimmy, he'll ask Franklin if he's part of Grove Street or if that was just some myth from the early 90s, which could be a reference to the Los Santos riots that happened throughout the mission End of the Line, or even a reference to the Ballers Grove Street gang war.
Are you Grove Street? Is Grove Street like a myth?
Man, that's some old school shit. Hell no, it's not a myth. But times have changed, homie. I'm families. I guess like they was. But things is different now, homie. Ain't like the early 90s no more. So no, you ain't living out some suburban gangbanging fantasy shit with me.
Now these callbacks sound like a direct connection to everything that happened in the 90s with CJ and the gang, but let me explain something first. The Grove Street families that we know from playing GTA San Andreas all those years ago are not the same ones being mentioned in GTA 5. I know it sounds like I'm making stuff up, but this is actually a not so well known fact. Unlike its San Andreas counterpart, and contrary to what Bossman F the World says in his videos, the Grove Street families in GTA 5 were just a single set of a larger gang, not a full-blown gang with multiple sets. They never controlled the families in this story. That only happens in the old game. It's sad but true. The popular connection that many fans rely on to support their theories is flawed. These brief but subtle references to the Grove Street families in GTA 5 feel like a lot how Red Dead Revolver's story and its characters are treated in the Redemption universe like distant legends or stories from another time. While playing as Franklin, you can sometimes hear a family's member mention someone named OG Johnson.
You know OG Johnson is gutter as a motherfucker.
When this line was first discovered a few years ago, it caused quite a bit of a stir in the GTA community. At the time, fans believed that they had found something that directly tied the Johnsons to the modern day family's gang. First of all, he's shown to be an OG, original gangster of the Carson Avenue families, a complete different set based in South Los Santos. It's a member of that set who casually brings up OG Johnson. Secondly, that set has no connection to Grove Street, and previous dialogue already established that the Grove Street families left Grove Street a long time ago. The Carson Avenue families are actually displayed as hostile towards the Chamberlain gangster families and several other sets too. So as of now in 2025, CJ still hasn't been officially mentioned or seen in GTA 5. Now this next part is where things start to get a little bit strange, but stick with me. Inside of Lester's house, you'll notice all kinds of quirky items like a poster of a flying saucer with the words "Accept the Truth," a movie poster for Alien Proba 3, real life paintings, shelves full of action figures, a megaphone, and even a box labeled Zombie Outbreak. But if the player manages to glitch inside and freely explore the place, then there's one hidden detail near Lester's computer that really stands out. On a bookshelf, you can spot a book titled Surveillance, and right on the cover is a picture of Carl Johnson from GTA San Andreas. Honestly, this Easter egg is pretty on the nose. It literally shows an image of CJ, and it reminds me of that John Marston t-shirt I talked about in a previous video. If you haven't seen that, go check it out after finishing this one. I'll link it down below. And in both cases, the images we see on the shirt and on the book are actually official promotional screenshots or artwork used to market the games before the release. And to be completely fair, I can't say for sure whether an Easter egg like this should be taken seriously as an actual in-universe connection. The book isn't mentioned anywhere else in the game, and we don't get any info from it, just like with the John Marston shirt. So logically, this seems more like a fun reference to old promo material rather than it being an actual meaningful connection. It wouldn't be the first time something like this has happened. CJ, along with more footage of San Andreas, have popped up this way in GTA 4. But speaking of GTA 4, multiple billboards for the in-game brand Frontalot in GTA 4 feature what looks to be CJ. On the billboard, the character in question is wearing a black hat with a black suit, and Frontalot is a parody of an urban clothing brand like FUBU, so it would make sense for them to want to advertise with a figure like CJ, a successful gangster and the manager of a world-famous rapper. Some fans would argue that it's not actually CJ and it's just a coincidence, but if we take a look at the facts, the character model can actually be found within the game files, although for this instance they only use the character's head. The actual model used for the ad is just an edited version of Brucey, which actually came from his in-game website. Rockstar just slapped the other character's head on top of it. So yeah, I pretty much just ruined a 17-year-old Easter egg for all of you. You're welcome. Now, just to clarify something, we're going to take a brief pause to explain some of the important points that, while unrelated to the Easter eggs we've discussed so far, are crucial for understanding the central question of this video. The Grand Theft Auto series is split into 3 separate fictional universes: the 2D, 3D, and HD, each created to support different narrative styles. These games share common elements like city names and brands, but most of them exist in their respective continuities. Importantly, terms like universe, camera perspective, and HD quality refer to different concepts, and remastering older games in high definition doesn't merge their stories into the HD universe. Each universe is defined by the continuity of the game that first introduced it. Now, if you still think the 3D and HD universes fit together without any contradictions, here's a quick example. In GTA San Andreas, Ganton is a neighborhood in Los Santos, but in GTA 5, Franklin and Lamar live in the city of Davis, an incorporated city in southern Los Santos County. Davis is based on Compton, and so is Ganton. They're both inspired by the same real-life place, but in-game they're entirely different. Different names, different layouts, different roles, and that right there is the contradiction. One's a city and the other is a neighborhood. I know all of you are familiar with names like Madd Dogg and OG Loc. These were main characters in the story of GTA San Andreas who also appear in GTA 5. CDs credited to them, and posters can be seen in both GTA 4 and GTA 5. Franklin has a Madd Dogg poster hanging next to his wardrobe at his aunt's house, later seen framed on the wall of his Vinewood Hills home, alongside a concert poster and ticket indicating Madd Dogg performed live at the Vinewood Bowl on the Madhouse tour. Even Jimmy DeSanta has CDs of Madd Dogg and OG Loc in his room underneath his TV. But in late 2021, OG Loc and Madd Dogg tried to get in contact with F. Clinton and partner to try and help with an unknown problem. It's even mentioned that one of the agency's security guards used to work for OG Loc back in the 1990s. So after hearing all this, you might be saying to the screen right now,
"But Bav, you said these were 2 separate universes, and all I see is them being the same thing. We've got 2 characters who are the exact same as their 3D counterparts."
And to that I say, well yes, but actually no. Here's why. When you have 2 canons, you're always going to run into differences in their character arcs and storylines. Take OG Loc for example. According to the HD Universe lore, between 1992 and 2013, OG Loc released an album titled Original. After that, he went on collaboration tours with the Corner Killers across the United States. His concert posters even showed him performing in cities like Liberty City, Las Venturas, and Vice City. Sounds like a successful career, right? And what launched it all? His first album. Straight from the Streets supposedly received critical acclaim and helped him rise to fame in the 90s to present day. But hold on, we've all played GTA San Andreas. That's not how things happen. In the 3D universe, OG Loc's Straight from the Streets was released in 1992 and it was a total flop. It was poorly received and led to his downfall after he got sued by Madd Dogg's record label. It was the only album he ever released, and according to the blogger and owner of the in-game website westcoastrapplegends.com, the album was considered lost media by 2004 with only a rare clip of a demo surviving on his blog. Now that is a huge difference between the canons. It straight up proves that San Andreas and GTA 5 take place in completely different universes with different histories. The same thing happens with Madd Dogg's variants. After the events of San Andreas, Madd Dogg released his album 40 Dog, which quickly achieved gold record status, and in 1994 he dropped the less than stellar Never Leave a Dog Behind, which ended up becoming his final album in the 3D universe and led to his retirement from performing. But since then, Madd Dogg had shifted his focus to ghostwriting and producing for other artists, and by 1998 and again in 2003, both Still Mad and 40 Dog were digitally remastered. According to the 3D universe lore, Madd Dogg never intended to release another album, unlike GTA 5's Madd Dogg, who dropped the Madhouse in 2013. So the universes are still being kept separate so far. This next Easter egg can be found in various bathrooms across the map, and it's actually a tube of toothpaste, but not just any toothpaste. This one is labeled CJ's Toothpaste. Now, I know I said much earlier in the video that CJ has never been officially mentioned in the newer GTA titles, and I still stand by that. This Easter egg doesn't mean CJ left Grove Street in the HD universe to start a toothpaste company, but this is an Easter egg after all. Campbell John Dick was a senior interior artist at Rockstar North. He had a habit of signing his work with the nickname CJD or just CJ, either directly on textures or hidden in the game's code. He's credited as an artist on Vice City, Manhunt, San Andreas, Vice City Stories, GTA 4, and GTA 5. But one of his more interesting Easter eggs appears in Manhunt, where he inserted a photo of himself as a texture. You can find it during one of the missions with a portrait inside the journalist's apartment, and the name of the texture file is CJ_CJ. If we look at pictures of his work, we can actually see that almost all of them have something to do with a product from a franchise or company named CJs, especially in the HD GTAs. That's why that comical toothpaste says CJ's Toothpaste on its texture design. It's an old running joke from one of Rockstar North's developers. It has nothing to do with the character of Carl Johnson. Content creators simply just blew it out of proportion like always. Short Trips is a set of 3 co-op missions in GTA Online's The Contract DLC, where players step into the shoes of Franklin and Lamar. In the first mission, Lamar ropes Franklin into helping him take revenge on the Vagos who stole his cannabis stash by burning down their weed warehouses in Blaine County. After racing to the first location, they take out the Vagos, soak the weed in fertilizer, light it up, and make their escape. In this mission, Franklin makes a direct reference to the mission Are You Going to San Fierro from San Andreas. After burning down the second weed farm, he says,
Hey, this is like that shit that went down over in Flint County back in the day.
Alluding to the time CJ and the Truth torched a massive weed plantation in 1992 to destroy evidence. However, this line simply confirms that Flint County, or its HD universe counterpart, also exists in this version of the state of San Andreas. Although the line could even suggest that a similar event like the one in San Andreas happened at some point in the HD timeline, and that lines up with Rockstar's universe logic. You see, a character can appear in both the 3D and HD universes, but only as a different version of themselves. For example, Laszlo was just a voice on the radio in the 3D universe, so when he showed up physically in GTA 5, it worked. He was essentially a new take on the same persona. Now here's where it gets interesting. Phil Cassidy, a character who did appear physically in multiple 3D universe games, is shown again in the GTA 6 trailer. But this doesn't mean that the 3D and HD universes are connected, it just means that Phil exists in both as separate versions, kind of like an alternate reality version of the same guy. Same name, similar personality, different universe. Now about Flint County itself, the location is part of San Andreas no doubt, it's just not in the southern part of the state. On November 3rd, 2011, Rockstar Games confirmed that GTA 5 would take place in Los Santos and the surrounding countryside, but it wouldn't feature a full recreation of the entire state of San Andreas. Instead, they described it as a reimagined present-day Southern California. So whatever places we feel are missing from the map, just remember they are still there, we just can't see them for gameplay purposes. San Fierro is probably right across from Paleto Bay. Hopefully one day we'll finally get to go back there. But I've finally reached the moment to answer the big question of today's video, and here is my answer. I do believe that GTA 5 and San Andreas take place in 2 separate universes, but I also believe that the events of GTA San Andreas happened in the world of GTA 5, just in a different way. This idea is supported by the many references references and bits of dialogue that clearly allude to the events of GTA San Andreas. So while the universes are separate, as Rockstar themselves have stated, the storylines are remarkably similar. Different universes, same story. It's the one that best fits the facts and in-game evidence that we have, not just from GTA, but also from how Red Dead handles its own lore across separate timelines. And who knows, maybe GTA 6 will give us even more to work with. It's already caused quite a stir in the community by featuring Red Dead presidents on its currency and sharing weapon manufacturers, but until then, if you've got a different perspective, let me know down in the comments below. Let's open up the discussion and read what everyone thinks. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Ugh.